This hive is swarming right now. The other day I opened it up and they had a few extra queen cells growing in there. So I knew they were planning on swarming. I was going to try and get up here and do a split or two off of it before this happened, but I got busy with a few other things, and hopefully I'll be able to find where these ones are all flying off to and catch them. But I don't know. We shall see about that. There's a few of them congregating on these trees right over here. Well, not necessarily congregating. They're just kind of flying around. They're looking for a spot to hang out as they continue their swarm. Hopefully they don't go too far and I'll be able to find them and catch them, so I don't lose these bees. Dang. It's kind of interesting. I haven't actually watched a hive in the process of swarming before. They're buzzing around, they're being really active, and but yeah, just this big cloud right above the box. Actually, it's more than just right above the box. It's all of the air right above this entire little apiary spot right here, and where they're all headed. They're getting thicker this direction. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you can kind of see them floating around there in the air. So they are moving this way. They're hanging out in this tree over here. Let's go check that out. I think I may have found where they are going. Look at this. There's just this column of bees. Can you hear them? Yeah, they're congregating right over here. Here's where the swarm is going to be at. And I'm just walking around in them because, you know, I've said this before, that swarms almost all the time, I say almost, but almost all of the time are very calm. You know, obviously they're buzzing around right now, but they don't have a home to protect. So they're not liable to just attack you for being anywhere near them. So here I am. I'm inside a swarm of bees as it is flying around. They're flying all around me. They're flying all around, above, and way beyond. And I am inside a swarm of bees right now. How cool is this? Can you see that? So right over this, right over here is where the bees are coming from, and they're flying in this pattern, and they are headed this direction. I'm going to track these guys down and find where it is that they are going. Oh, and by the way, last night I was in Turlock and picked up a, they're starting to gather on this tree right here, I think. I hope so, because right here you can see bees that have been flying past here, but they're turning around and coming back. So there's a column going from there straight to this tree. I can see a bunch of them starting to land on the tree just all over the place, looking for a good landing hiding spot. Later today I will be able to come back and catch them. They're up a little bit higher, so I will almost definitely have to bring a ladder. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so they are landing here somewhere. My goodness. This is so cool. Where are they gonna... Most people get pooped on by birds. I just got pooped on by a bee. Can you see it there? Yeah, right there. There it is. Ta-da! Bee poop. Okay. So, back up in the air we go. Not focusing. There we go. All right. Goodness. Okay, it looks like they've kind of moved. The bees have changed their mind. Apparently, bees do not fly in a beeline. They've turned over here. And look, this is weird because they're landing and slowly moving on because there's a bunch of bees over here. There had been a bunch right over there. Now they're landed right over here. And now look at this congregation of them all right here. And you can see there's some, I don't know if you can see that, some of them landing on the tree and they sit down for a little bit and rest. These bees have engorged themselves in honey. Okay, so big thick bunch of them right here. Doesn't necessarily mean, obviously, as I found out just this last minute, that they are going to stay there, but I don't know. It's pretty thick right here, but yeah, you know, I did think that just a few minutes ago in the other tree. So there's just a bunch of them right over there too. There's a whole bunch of them sitting on this tree here. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to keep following these bees around because I don't want to lose them. This was a very strong hive, and they built a lot of really good comb. And so I want to do everything that I can to recapture this queen. Oh my goodness. I am surrounded by, how many is this? This is probably 40, 50,000 bees. My goodness. There's a whole bunch of them. They're just, they can't make up their mind apparently. There are a lot of them flying around right over here, but there's a lot of them starting to land here. A bunch there, and a whole bunch there. Have they moved on to the next tree yet? Yeah, there's a few of them landing over here, and they're just going to keep flying around until the queen gets tired and sits down. So in a hive, the queen is actually too big to fly. She's she can't actually fly unless she goes on a diet. Yes, the queen does go on a diet so that she can go flying, and so she does thin out, she does lose weight and everything like that, and for a while she actually stops laying eggs because part of that diet actually prevents her from continuing to lay eggs and whatnot, and so she slows down, she stops eating quite as much, she loses a bunch of weight, and once she's lost enough weight, she takes off, and 50% or more of the bees take off with her. And this is that half or more that has taken off. They're sitting right here. They're not moving on. So I think the swarm is going to be here somewhere. One of these couple of trees here. Big group of them there. So yeah, the queen loses a bunch of weight. She takes off. All of the bees engorge themselves on honey. I mean, they pig out. They raid that pantry and then run out the door. Kind of like your cousins at a family reunion. And take off and whatnot. And so these ones right here, I mean, they keep stopping and resting because each one of these bees is, you know, significantly heavier than it normally is. Look at all these bees flying around. I am standing inside a flying swarm of bees. There they are. There they are. I found them. That right there is where they are landing at. Let me see if I can get a big picture of it. Look at that. One of them fell down on me. All right, so let me get back over here. Look at that. Wow, that is a big swarm. And it's only going to get bigger because there's so many. Because you see that big old lump right there, that's less than half of what's flying around right now. My goodness. Check this out. Okay, so that's a nice, well, I mean, it's kind of an easy spot. I'll have to use a brush or something like that. I might just cut that branch off and dangle it over a box or something like that to dump them into. And it's one of my trees, so yeah, I can cut a branch off of it. If it was somebody else's tree, I'd do everything I can to not have to. Wowee, I am so glad that I came out here when I did, because I would have totally missed this. So like, it's not far. Like I said, the box is just right up there. There's that patch of mustard right there, just to that side of it, and on the other side of the hilltop is where the beehives are, where this hive, this swarm came from. I would have to bet that when this colony is landed and it's all sitting right there on the swarm, that's probably, dang, that's a big one. That's probably going to be about 3.5, maybe 4 pounds of bees, all just chilling out. You see a bunch of them just flying around down here. They're just, so right here, somewhere inside that clump is where the queen has landed. So I am going to be making my move later today to pick them up. Some swarms, they can hang out in a spot for a few days. I've heard of a couple swarms, they'll land in a tree on the side of a building or whatnot, and they'll stay there for upwards of 3-4 days sometimes, and other times they'll land and there'll be a clump somewhere of bees, and they might only be there for an hour and they take off. So this one, being a fairly large colony, a pretty large swarm here, and I know this queen, and I know she is a good, strong queen, I am going to be making my move as soon as I can to recapture these bees. And this is so cool. Now, there is no more bees flying in the air over here. Okay, that column of bees, they have all left that hive. There are no more left over there. This tree over here is the one that they had been congregating in, which I thought they were going to land here. And then they moved to this one a little bit, and then they flew straight on this direction, and it looked like they were flying past this one, but then they turned around and came back. My goodness, that swarm has gotten even bigger. Let's see if I can get in a little bit closer to it. You know, even though a swarm is generally pretty docile, you don't want to push your limit too much. You can push your luck and get stung by a swarm of bees. Look at all those. Watch them just sitting around, because they could smell the queen. They know she's somewhere around here, and that's good enough for them. They know where she's at. Bees all flying around. Oh, so continue on that wine barrel that I picked up in Turlock last night. It's sitting in the bed of my truck right now. It's got a whole bunch of bees flying around. I got stung by one of those. It got me right on the lip, which the swelling is going down significantly, rather quickly actually, which is kind of nice. But stung me on the lip, and which made it hard for me to have a milkshake afterwards. But anyways, they're back home, and I'll be cutting that box up, or that wine barrel up, and putting them inside a box. All right, I'll give you an update about this swarm later. Toodles.